Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I thought that I'm going to bring a different flavor to my channel. There are many 100,000 subscribers who wanted to bring in some new flavor to the channel. I thought, why not ending the year? We need to get a magician. He's a cricketer, but he's a magician. He picks up a wicket and he does something very much where not many have done in the world. Okay, let me talk about his cricketing credentials rather than what he does on and off the field. He has fooled me around a lot of time with a pack of cards, actually. We are together in the South African team and many of the global leagues. That's fine. I accept my defeat here. Let's talk about Tabraiz Shamsi, whom I rate very highly and is one of the most skilled bowlers in the world who can win a cricket match all of his own in the white ball format. And I'm not saying that. The stats say that, the records say that, and the man is a fighter. Tabraiz Shamsi has represented 28 teams in the world right now, and he has brought laurels to every single team he has played because he plays cricket with his heart. And before getting on and giving a chance for Shamsi to talk, his international achievements, he became the ICC T20 #1 bowler in the world in March 2021. He was the first person to take a hat trick for South Africa against the West Indies in 2021. He is now the all-time leading wicket taker for South Africa, surpassing the great Dale Steyn. And he has achieved a lot in domestic as well, where the stats suggest in Caribbean Premier League for St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots in 2015, he was the highest wicket taker with 11 wickets. That is 10 years before a young Tabraiz Shamsi who made an entry into the Caribbean and made a mark immediately. In the Ram Slam T20 Challenge, he was a leading wicket taker in 2017 and 2018. And he was the most economical bowler in the inaugural edition of the Zanzi Super League in South Africa in 2018. When he played for Rajasthan Royals and he played for Royal Challengers Bangalore, and he played only 5 matches for IPL, and his economy is around 8, which is not bad by any means. Welcome to the show, Tabraiz Shamsi. I'm going to bowl more googlies to you. Hope you're ready to defend it with a straight bat because you claim that you can bat.
Yeah, Pdogg, that's a unbelievable introduction from you, and a lot of things I didn't know personally. But obviously, you're the stats man. That's why you're the best in the world. And whenever you bowling, I'm definitely like Don Bradman with a bat in my hand. So yes, I'm ready.
And then I'm going to throw some of those achievements of Tabraiz Shamsi. And in the latest Caribbean Premier League, which he took his team to the second qualifier, he was the leading wicket taker with 17 wickets. The second leading wicket taker was only 11 wickets. And now he just finished his assignment with Gulf Giants in the IL20. His economy is only 8 and over, which in my opinion is absolutely commendable. Now I will go to the overall stats of Tabraiz Shamsi as what he has achieved. Let's go to the ODIs for Tabraiz Shamsi. He has picked up 73 wickets at an economy of 5.58. And the most important thing for me is picks up a wicket every 36 balls. That for me is a gold in ODI cricket. Particularly he bowls in the middle overs with 4 fielders outside. Let us go and see what he has done for T20 International for South Africa, playing 70 matches, taking 89 wickets at an economy of 7.39. And he got a strike rate of 16.9, which is the best achieved by any South African in T20 cricket. And count on to it, his average is only 20.89. Let me go to the T20s, what he has played. He has played 350 matches and he has picked up 355 wickets. Imagine 315 matches with an economy of just 7.47 and a strike rate of 18.1. That is a wicket every 3 overs, which is absolutely commendable in my opinion. Yes, obviously, he's someone who's going to really scratch his head to tell that to talk about my batting accomplishments. When he made his debut, he switched a partnership with Fab du Plessis, and his debut he was up against a guy like Mitchell Starc in the fading light. I should not say fading light, it was a dark night with a pink ball in. He didn't do that badly. And in the first class cricket of 84 matches, he has come up with the 334 wickets And then the strike rate is 46.6. For me, anyone who's got a strike rate in first class cricket around 45, I consider them as an absolute match winner. On the second stat I want to throw, Tabraiz Shamsi, do you know a fact? You have never played 5 international games in succession for South Africa?
That's one of the things that's always been a bit sad for me. But I didn't know it was that few. I thought maybe when I got to number one in the world, there was, I think I've played for South Africa for about 9 years, and there's only a period of about 1.5 years where I did play regularly. And I thought that's when I did play more, like, the only time that I played regularly. But it's a shock for me to know that I haven't played more than 5 games in a row. I thought maybe it might have been in that period might have been a little bit more, but it's actually crazy that I haven't played more than 5 games in a row.
When Imran Tahir introduced me, a young Tabraiz Shamsi, I can remember that in Johannesburg in Hotel Santonson, this guy wanted to have a chat with me. I can see the spark in his eyes. I can see the killer instincts in his eyes and what it means for him to represent the country. I saw it all. I told him, Imi, please retire quickly. I want this guy to get in. But unfortunately, when you have a legend like Imran Tahir, many of the times, in spite of you doing extremely well, extraordinarily well, you have to warm the bench. You gladly accepted for the love what you had for the country. And the second thing is, which I really remember because you always come for an advice for me, be it personal thing or cricketing thing. In 2017, when you got a fat, big offer to get into Kolpak, when you came to my room in Potchefstroom, you thought that you wanted my advice whether to take it or not. When I said that, look, this is going to be a big deal, but if you ask me, when I carry South Africa here, I want you to stay on. You came and told me only one thing, whether you remember or not, I don't know. Bye. I'm not coming here to take an advice whether what to choose. I'm telling you, this is the contract I've got. I'm not going to entertain it because South Africa is here for me. I don't care about the money, what I get out of this contract. Even if I can get 3 meals a day and a decent shelter playing for South Africa, even warming the bench for a guy like Imran Tahir, I will warm the bench. That's what playing for my country means for me. That is what it touched me. Can you please brief me about that?
Yeah, obviously people don't know what goes on behind the scenes in players' lives and those kind of things. And of course, playing for the country, I've said that over and over again. There's nothing bigger than that. And it wasn't bigger, nothing was bigger back then when I was younger, and nothing's bigger now when I'm a bit older. I've always maintained that playing for my country is the biggest honor. I still want to do that. And also, to be honest, I feel the best of my skills comes out when I'm on the field playing for my country. You, the stats guy, I don't know about that, but I can just speak about my own feeling and the way I am on the field. Uh, um, there's nothing that brings that out of me. That fight, that hunger, the desire. Maybe the stats reflect that, maybe the stats don't. But for me, inside, yeah, I would say I'm a different beast when I play for South Africa. Whether it's with performances or just mentally, it's just, yeah, it's the pinnacle. A lot of times people forget that love for playing for their country, but for me, that's why I've gone through all the things for the year and stuff, and I did it with pleasure. You mentioned when Imi was there. I, you know, I am a strong-willed person. I'm somebody that is outspoken as well. I stand for my beliefs, but I'm also a person that understands cricket. And when a guy like Imran Tahir is playing and I'm sitting on the bench, I fully understand why, because I'm not stupid. I understand cricket. I'm not somebody that's demanding unnecessary things or somebody that is like, well, why am I not playing? Because even an idiot can understand why you're not playing. Because a legend like Imran Tahir, the way he's performing for South Africa, he was one of our most important members of the white ball team of South Africa. So how could I be demanding things, which I never did? So yeah, I'm very realistic when it comes to that kind of things. And I think you know that as well. Even when you say I've bowled decently or, you're mentioning certain stats that are, even this tournament, my economy was 8 point something. I'm very disappointed in that, because I expect a lot better from myself. So those kind of things, I'm very harsh on myself. I'm very realistic about it. But one thing, it's a fact that, when I play for South Africa, it brings the best out of me. That's why people might see me as this angry person on the field. It's just my passion for my country. I want to fight hard. I want to make, South Africa win games. And that's why this, and I suppose, and I've never mentioned this anyway. My wife actually spoke to me about it the other day, recently, and she's like, why do you look so angry to take wickets? And I'm like, I think it's just that frustration that just comes out. Like, why do I have to fight to just be on the park? Because when I'm on the park, I'm given the tough overs. I'm expected to take wickets. I'm expected to bowl at the best batters because they have the belief that I can get the best batters out. But why must it always be a fight for me to actually get the chance in the starting lineup? So maybe subconsciously that's, that anger and frustration that comes out when I take a wicket. Like, you know, it's about time that I got on the park and I got the opportunity because, cricket's like this. I might play the next 3 games and get smashed. There's no guarantees. There's no guarantee that the best batter in the world is going to make 100 every game. That's why we love this game. We don't know what's going to happen, but just that opportunity, to be there, to be able to do what you think you can do and help the team. I think that's why sometimes I look like an angry man on the field, but everybody meets me on the field. To be honest, South Africa and Australia have a big rivalry. The players always are having a few words on the field and stuff. And now when I play leagues, I meet some Australian guys that are my teammates. Even recently at St. Lucia Kings, meeting Tim David personally for the first time. Obviously, you know the guys because you're playing against them. But we were teammates and we got to spend time together. And, he was like, you're actually a nice guy. When we meet you, we have a completely different perception because of how you are on the field. But I think competitors, they respect that. When they play hard cricket and they come up against somebody that plays hard cricket, I think once the battle's done, they actually respect those things.
One thing I want to say, you say that when your wife is asking why you get so emotional when you pick up a wicket, I want to tell you something to the viewers. I want to tell you something to Tabraiz Shamsi, which he doesn't know because he keeps saying that I'm a statsman. I think so. I am one. Tabraiz Shamsi has picked up a man of the match award every 7 games for South African T20s, which is the most number of frequency of man of the match awards won by any player who played for South Africa in T20 cricket ever. And when you have a record like this, when I throw up something saying that you have not played 5 matches in a row, that is something very surprising. And no matter how confident you are, no matter how skilled you are, no matter how much you perform, when you play 3 games, when you miss out of the next 2, when you come back again, you are under pressure to perform to play the next game. That's the absolute bottom line with my experience of 25 years in the field. And I want to take you back to 2018 when India and South Africa played in Johannesburg. That is a year you played for RCB and you're up against the King Virat Kohli. And you're going there ball after ball and sledging him. Ball after ball and sledging the King Kohli. Okay? When he came out of the field, I said, brother, I advise you one thing, Chamo. You should not sledge Kohli for 2 things. One thing is, you're playing for RCB now. I don't want you to rub him on the wrong side. Second thing is, don't sledge a player like Kohli because it gets the best out of him. You looked at me and said, probably I might think about the second point. I don't care about the first point. If I'm good, I'm going to get back to RCB. I'm playing for my country and I don't care which batsman I'm bowling to. I don't care whether I'm going to be soft that is going to get me an IPL contract. I want to get an IPL contract based on the performances I make. I want my country to win. If I lose an IPL contract because I'm giving a word or two to one of the greatest batsmen in the world ever, I don't care. That is the time my respect for you have started growing because I came to know what it makes for you to get onto the field of play every single time you represent your country with pride, with passion, with hunger. Thanks for that. Explain about that.
Yeah, you've explained that yourself. Obviously, Virat is somebody that's very aggressive on the field. He's got this intensity that not many players have. And I remember this conversation with you, and obviously in the change rooms around the world, people also say like, just leave Virat alone, don't have a word with him. But, that brings the best out of him, but that also brings the best out of me. And obviously being personal friends through RCB and stuff like that, I got to know him. He got to know me. And, whenever we play against each other, we're always having words against each other. But the respect off the field is there because of that, because we know whatever we say to each other, it's all on the field. But off the field, we understand each other as people, and we know that we both just going as hard as we can to try and win games for our country. And a lot of people speak about Virat, what makes him different. That's what makes him different. His mentality and his fight on the field. And I think that's why we clash as well on the field, but off the field, maybe that's why there's a connection as well. Because we've had a few chats, off the field after the game, and he said something to me, and I'm like, well, has anyone ever got to speak to you like I do on the field? And he nodded, he smiled, and he said, yeah, you're right. So I think that's a mutual respect. And as for the IPL stuff, of course, I haven't played much IPL. And if you want to say rightfully so, or whatever it is, I accept that. And the thing that I said to you still stands. If I'm good enough to be there, I will be there. If I'm not good enough to be there, I won't be there. There's no demands or any expectations or, like from my side, like, yeah, I'm so good, I will be there every year or whatever. I haven't played much IPL, and that's on me, so I accept that. But there was no way that I was going to compromise my aggressiveness or my fight when I'm playing for South Africa. And I think competitors, for example, you gave Virat's example, I gave the example of the Australian players. I really admire them because when they play, they don't give a damn who they're playing against. When they're playing for Australia, they're fighting for Australia. So competitors also appreciate that. On the field, we might be logging heads against each other and fighting, and they might hate me and not be happy with me. But I think once the game is done, competitors appreciate that. Like, listen, I was going all in to win games for my country, and this guy was doing the same. And I think it takes a certain level of maturity to understand that. And, I might have said stupid things when I was younger. I think we all have. The viewers that are watching, I'm sure they made mistakes when they were younger or said things that they shouldn't have maybe said. I sit back now, I have a wife, I have a child. I'm a lot older now than I was when I first joined the team. I think about it. Like, sometimes we say things or we act a certain way, which maybe we might not have done. These things come with maturity. We all make the mistakes. We all say things. But one thing that I'm really proud of that, every time I stepped on the field for South Africa, I gave it my all and I didn't hold back, no matter who I was playing against, whether I was a young kid that doesn't do much cricket, being aggressive against somebody like Virat, or, now with experience, still trying to be aggressive and, any low edge that I can give to the team, whether it's with my mouth or with the ball, I would do that.
One more thing I want to tell you, where not many viewers might not have known this. The great man who was sitting next to me lost his mother last year during the SA20 when he was playing for Johannesburg Super Kings. He finished his funeral for his mother, took a flight the same day, reached Cape Town, if I'm right, if my memory serves me right, played a game in the night. That is a kind of a passion. For me, I'll be very honest with you. I work for a few global leagues, a few teams. For me, the standard of teams, what I work, there is definitely skill. The CPL, PSL, T10 League, GSL, there is definitely skills on the lines where I work. There's definitely skill. But for me, I would always see the guy who's got passion, hunger, commitment, like the man sitting next to me. If I have an option to feed 11 Tabraiz Shamsis, I won't even think twice about doing that. For me, those four things apart from skills are the one I need to see whether I can pick as a player. The man sitting next to me is definitely one of them. How hard was it when you lost your mother to travel the same day, play for Johannesburg Super Kings and did well? Explain that.
Yeah, of course. That is something I think it's universal that when somebody goes through a loss like that, there's no bigger loss in anyone's life. Um, yeah, the funeral that, and the very next morning it was, I think, 4 or 5 a.m. I flew to Cape Town. The team had already flown the night before or the day before, and I just made the decision that I was going to go and play. It was purely on the basis that we were playing at Newlands, which might be a spin-friendly wicket, and the team would have needed me. You know, if we were only going to play one spinner, if we were playing at the Wanderers or at Centurion, I probably wouldn't have played. And then 2 days later, we were playing in again as unfriendly ground. So I felt like I might be doing an injustice to the team by not being there. Of course, I had a very valid reason for not being there, but I just thought that, as per the team combination, it's very likely that I might be needed to play. And if I'm not there, it might jeopardize the team. So I went and I played. And, I've always been realistic. I had horrible games. I played absolutely rubbish in those 2 games. And I thought I would go there to help the team, but I did the complete opposite. But yeah, that was my thinking behind it. And of course, I didn't have a great SA20 last year, and I'm not going to make excuses for that. It is what it is. Whatever I was going through was personal, and as a professional, I tried my best. It didn't work out, and as a result of that, whatever comes after that, I have to take that on the chin as a man. And yeah, that was basically my thinking behind it. There was no ways that I wanted to go and be play cricket at that point, but yeah, I made the decision. It didn't work out, and I must live with the consequences.
And viewers, I want to tell you one more thing. I spoke about Shamsi unfortunately losing his mother during SA20. In 2018, when we went to Sri Lanka, Tabraiz Shamsi came all the way from South Africa to train with me in Bangalore, stay in Bangalore, and work on certain things. Even Maharaj was also there. And the second thing, what really impressed me is when Maharaj was batting, he came to me and said, "Can I put my pads on?" I looked at him and said, I thought that he was joking. He was joking. I asked him, "Are you serious?" I said, "I want to score runs for my country." And he played the first test match. He bowled beautifully. He picked up wickets in Gaul, unfortunately, which we lost. The day we lost the test match, he lost his father as well. Father as well. He flew to South Africa all the way, finished the funeral, and came back hours before the second test match. This is the commitment of the man sitting next to me. And in T20 internationals, South Africa's percentage of winning matches are more when Tabraiz Shamsi played. South Africa has picked up more wickets from over number 7 to 15 when Tabraiz Shamsi featured. South Africa has conceded less runs from 7 to 15 when Tabraiz Shamsi has featured in the T20s. This is the kind of a man I'm talking about. And the second thing I always say, I'm someone who always talk positively to the players. He has worked with me in many global league teams and many times in South Africa, many years. He will come back and tell, I bowled 2 bad balls. Seventh over for this batsman, ninth over for this batsman for a bat. You would have ended up with 10 overs for 46 runs and 3 wickets. He will come and tell me, Baijan, I want to have to look at those 2 shit balls which I bowled. That is how hard he takes his game. That is how hard he is. Now, no one will accept that when you lost your mother, what kind of mindset you will be there to play the game on the same day. And the man in public accepts that he's got a bad SA20 and he's putting his hand to accept it. So this is the kind of the players you would want to field day in and day out. The only difference of opinion I used to have with him is he always says that he can cover drive like Babar Azam and Sachin Tendulkar. So that is the only difference in opinion we used to have. But that's a kind of a confidence he has. He keeps challenging me, saying that he can still cover drive better than Babar Azam and Sachin Tendulkar. Shama, your opinion on that?
No, no, that's a false accusation. I said my cover drive is better than you, not those two.
You trying to compete with someone who just started playing cricket after 23 years. I just played a charity match in Guyana, and many people fell in love with the way I belted some sixes. And you competing with me, I would rather want you to a guy like you with the adrenaline flowing all the time. Want to compete with Babar Azam, Sachin Tendulkar, and Virat Kohli, not with me, boy.
Pdogg, you mentioned my batting stats in the test match. I believe it's still a test batting record for South Africa for highest score by number 11 on test debuts. So you know got that record as well. So please don't underestimate my batting.
This is the kind of the guy I've interviewed, and I have said everything about him, good, bad, or ugly, or facts. That is not going to change. The man sitting next to me, what I can put my money on is only one thing. He is going to give his every blood, is going to give his every sweat on the field for any time he represents. I can fondly remember one last incident before I let him go. And we were playing England in a T20 series. And I went to him and told, Shamo, tomorrow you're going to bowl a off tracker to Ben Stokes. He looked at me and said, and second thing I want to tell, he comes every night, 1 o'clock in the night to study the opposition. I asked him, why are you doing that? I'm not tired of opening my door at 1 o'clock, but I asked him, you know what he said? I'm going to take all my inputs. He comes up with his notepad and a pen. He writes down everything, even though I say, I'm going to send you the document. He says, no, I want to observe what you're saying. Then I want to write. I have to take those thoughts in my mind and sleep with that. So when I wake up, the thoughts continue. I can go and do well. That is a kind of a commitment this man has got. What do you think about a half tracker has been suggested to a player like Ben Stokes, and you said you will execute the plan. And what happened the next day? Can you elaborate that with a smiling face?
You know, funny enough, it was probably during the CPL or a couple of months prior to that. I was mentioning this incident to somebody else. I was actually speaking about you and said that, you know, when Pdogg said that to me, there's a level of trust you need to have in someone to listen to a ridiculous idea like that. You know, where somebody says, look, you need to bowl guy on the line and he's going to pull it and get caught on the boundary. I think it was long on or something like that. But with somebody like you, I believed it because I know you just live and breathe cricket. You don't ever leave your room. Even if your wife is on tour, you just give her your wallet and say, go and do shopping. Leave me alone. I'm watching cricket. I'm working. So when I see somebody like that, that puts in so many hours of watching cricket and studying the game, even if there's 3 or 4 different cricket games going on at the same time, you've got your different devices and you're watching all the games, then as a player, I can trust that. You know, you're not just looking at some software or something like that, or looking at some stats on the paper and giving that opinion. You're actually physically watching, you know, hundreds of hours of footage and stuff like that, and then coming up with an opinion. And then you've showed me 3 or 4 clips of the guy going out to the half track like that. Of course, then I have to believe it because I know that it's coming with some proof, it's coming with some thought process, and it's coming from, you know, you actually watching the stuff happening. So, you know, in anything, you have to have a trust in a person, you know, that you're working with. Same, you know, you mentioned so many nice things about me with my stats and stuff. There has to be a trust within your team as well, you know. So I have to mention that I've been fortunate to play with such wonderful players, teammates. Of course, they got to run for me to or you know the bowlers that I'm bowling with. I've been blessed to play with amazing bowlers as well. You know, in my bowling unit. So I think it would be unfair for me to take full credit for that as well because you know those guys that I played with over the years, they also made me the player that I am. You know, the guys that made runs for me to defend, the guys that took catches for me, the guys that bowled before me to make pressure, you know, for me to take wickets. So I think, yeah, we're speaking about a team and you were certainly part of my team, you know, my personal team where if I didn't have that trust in you and you didn't have that knowledge that you shared with me, that made a big difference to my career as well. So yeah, I would like to thank you as well for that.
Now, to be very honest with you, I'm never a credit stealer because it's easy to give a plan to a bowler, but finally the bowler, when I say you're going to bowl a half tracker to a guy like Ben Stokes, you have to execute it. That's the most difficult part. Giving the plans, in my opinion, is easy. You exactly bowl at that length. You exactly keep the guy closer, kind of a mid wicket, because it goes back and full. when you see the ball going straight to him.
Mm.
So the talent is there for the bowler to execute. So the guy was giving the plan probably 0.1 percentage, to be very honest with you. The one thing that's a great thing about you is you being thankful to everyone. You thank the players around you, you thank the captain around you who's backing you, you thank around the fielder who's going to stop that one run to keep the batsman on strike. That needs good heart, actually. I'm going to let you go now. Before that, I want to wish you all the very best. In my opinion, I've given the stats enough. So the combination of you and Maharaj has been absolutely deadly for South Africa, where he does the containing job and you do the attacking job, where it has always been a success story, and particularly India going to India for the T20 World Cup, where I'm emphasizing the fact on having an attacking spinner and the love and passion you have got for South Africa still now is just absolutely amazing. One thing whenever I ask this man sitting next to me, what is going to be the biggest achievement you feel you will ever have in your life? He says, I want to be a part of the World Cup winning team for South Africa. That came very close in 2024. But unfortunately, you know what? God decides everything. They lost a very close game in which he has got the best strike rate. He's got the best average, playing just 5 games and picking up 11 wickets, which was way above cut of the rest from any bowlers, even though they've got bowlers who bowl very well throughout the tournament. Shamo, I am a believer in life. You know that I always spread positive vibes. I'm 100% sure where you always keep telling South Africa is the first priority for you. No matter what, wherever you play, you give your life, but you want to choose between your country and a second team. I know that without even asking your permission to tell this to public, it has always been South Africa, because the Protea fire is still burning in you. It will always burn in your heart. No matter what, tomorrow you can become a coach for them, spin bowling coach for them. I know that you want to contribute for your country where you deserve to win a World Cup. I wish you all the very best for you to get into the T20 World Cup and make sure South Africa wins that. I'm also asking the viewers to send and shower their blessings to Tabraiz Shamsi to make his dream a reality, that part of the World Cup winning team. Thanks a lot for your time, for all these 30 minutes, and entertaining the viewers by, answering my googlies and defending with a straight bat, with full face of the bat. Thank you very much, Shamo.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Pdogg. It's been a chat and and it's been amazing connecting with you again.
Bye bye.